Next up at UFC 294, we have Javid Basharat taking on Victor Henry. Javid Basharat is undefeated, 14-0, and he's looking for his fourth UFC win. He's taking on Victor Henry, 23-6 overall, 3-2 in his last five, coming off that close win over Tony Gravely. Javid Basharat's a grappler. He has incredible offensive and defensive wrestling. He has absolutely no problems with a kickboxing match either, and he's landing almost 6 significant strikes per minute and only being hit with fewer than 3. We have seen him out-grapple people. We've seen him out-strike people as well with little resistance to either side. He's coming off that dominant win over Mataus Mendonça, where he did give up 2 takedowns, but he also had 2 of his own and almost quadrupled the strikes. Taking on Victor Henry. This guy's pretty inconsistent. You don't always know what you're going to get out of him, but he is a come-forward striker with a wide variety of attacks. He likes to plot forward, use his head movement to avoid some punches, and then he will throw literally everything. At range, he's going to throw head kicks, but if he can get inside the pocket, he's going to throw elbows and knees. He's got a ton of variety. He mixes it all together really nicely. He's coming off that bounce-back split decision win over Tony Gravely, where he gave up 3 takedowns, but he dominated the striking. I think Javid dominates this fight. The line movement makes complete sense to me, right? Open at minus 350, now sitting at minus 600. If you're a premium member, you saw the action I had on him early. Nowhere near the minus 600 odds, but I did get some action in on him, and I think minus 600, he's probably, you don't want to start spending that kind of money, but that's probably where he should be, if not a little farther. The only thing that worries me is we watched Victor Henry beat in a pretty decisively 5-time Brazilian national champion wrestler Javid Basharat in his UFC debut. I just think while Javid Basharat is the more accomplished wrestler on paper, I do think Javid's takedowns are different. They're more conducive in MMA, and he's more comfortable striking.
Word of the day, huh? You got one of those calendars?
No, I'm just very well educated. Because if you noticed, I said...
Where did you graduate college?
If you noticed, I said fewer strikes instead of less because, education. I think Javid gets it done. And if we get the Victor Henry that showed up 2 fights ago, he's going to win inside the distance. If not, he'll ride out a decision and get a whole bunch of takedowns, control, win the striking. All the things, Jakey boy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that this is one of those fights that could really put some people on edge because I agree. I like Javid. I think he's a very, very good fighter, very high IQ guy. He's a better fighter in this matchup. But his style against a guy like Victor Henry is going to be very, very interesting because he's more of a kind of a methodical striker. He's not really a finisher. He's a decision-type fighter. He doesn't force the wrestling, but he mixes it in pretty well. And against a guy like Victor Henry, who is going to stay in your face with good takedown defense, these rounds could get very, very close and be very, very interesting. Victor Henry is a guy that against Javid Basharat threw almost 400 strikes. Against Tony Gravely threw almost 300 strikes. He's going to be there. He's going to be in the face of Javid. And if Javid can't really handle that pressure, I think that there's going to be rounds where people are going to be like, I think that Javid won that round, right? I think Javid's up 2-0. I think he's up to, it's going to be one of those fights because Victor Henry is a guy that he's going to be around. The thing that Javid has going for him that I think makes me feel a lot better is his fight IQ. He knows what's going on in a fight. He knows when he needs to get a takedown. And I said this in the Discord today. I believe that this fight's going to play out like this. Every single round for 3 or 4 minutes, it's going to be like, this is a very close round. And then Javid is going to go all in for the takedown. He is going to get a takedown with 1:30, 2 minutes to go in the round, and everyone's going to go, whew. And then the next round's going to start, and it's going to be the same thing where Victor's just pressure, and then a little bit too much pressure taken down towards the end of the round. Everyone's going to go, whew, because I think that this fight could be a sweat. I am going to pick Javid. He is the better fighter, and I think he is the real deal at 14-0, but he is a guy that fights definitely to win, not to finish, high IQ guy. I think he's going to do enough to get the win, but this could be one of those weird fights where it's like, I mean, we've seen these cards before. There's no way that all these big favorites win. Somebody is going to fuck it up. I don't think it's going to be Javid, but this one could be a lot closer than people think. Victor Henry's a durable guy, good takedown defense, throws a million strikes, and sometimes the pressure is just enough to win you fights. But I think Javid's going to sneak in some takedowns and steal a fight.
I hear you. Somebody might be the parlay buster this week, but I told you I didn't bet on. I told you I didn't bet on Nathaniel Wood. He might be, and then there's another fighter that I'm leaving out of some stuff as well. We'll get to him in a couple of fights. We're both on the Javid side. I'm far more confident in him than you are, and it sounds like mostly not. We both agree how good Javid is. You're just giving Victor Henry a little more credit than I am, but like where was that Victor Henry in that loss? Like that was an embarrassing loss. Even the Tony Gravely fight was like way too close. So his best performance was against Hani Barcelos, who struggled after that. Let's see that Victor Henry fight. Who did he lose to? Who was that 65-year-old that beat him?
Hassan Sao.
That's Hassan Sao. Yes,
Hassan Sao's pretty good.
Very good.
But yeah, he definitely was a little
shouldn't be
flat in
beating.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I think I agree.
But wasn't he a favorite? I think he was, because he was a big dog, and it's a lot of times it's a lot easier to come in and be loose when you're a dog.
Care.
I think he was the dog against Hani, big dog, came in and beat him, and I think he was a big favorite versus Rafael. I think he was like a 3-1 favorite because he fucked a lot of people. I think in that matchup.
Did.
Yeah,
He did.
I think he was like a big favorite, so I think
yeah.
the pressure kind of got to him a little bit.
Could be. I mean, listen, this is I could be a miserable mood, tired, have a bad day at work, and it is what it is. They can't. And frankly, some people are just gonna have poor outings because they didn't feel right, or they just, things didn't align perfectly. Like, you literally need to be the perfect physically, perfect mentally, all of those things for 15 minutes. And it just has to align. Like, a lot could go wrong in a freaking
to that point,
fist.
I mean, Javid is a guy that will kind of let you get going. He will take his time. You saw that in the Mendoza fight, Mendonca or whatever. He was able to get some things off in that first round. So, I mean, this is another one. I mentioned it with that Victoria fight. This is another one that if Javid all of a sudden can't get a takedown and he's out volume in that first round.
He doesn't need a takedown, but yeah.
But I'm saying, I think he probably does need a takedown. Victor's going to be in his face. I'm just saying, this is another one of those fights where if Victor drops the first round, or not Victor, if Javid drops the first round, this one could be.
Well, anyway, we're both on the Javid side. I did trust him for a parlay. Sounds like you don't. $9,400 in DraftKings.
Oh,
I'm going to go check out what Tony Gravely scored in that fight. I'll add 30 to that. And then if that is a decent number and that gets you past the $9,400 salary here, then Javid might be worth it in your DraftKings lineup. But I don't think so, because I agree. I think this probably goes to a decision.
Javid's the better fighter. He is the better fighter. I don't want to be like too alarming here. I just think he's a decision fighter, and Victor's a durable guy. Just it could be closer than people think. But I think I think he wins. I think he should definitely win the fight.
Yeah, well, decision fighter is the only reason I'm concerned about the $9,400 in DraftKings. I'm not concerned he's going to lose, but
I don't have any action on Victor Henry, and I have Javid in a parlay, so that should be enough.
Yeah, there you go. If you want to check that parlay out, WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. It's only freaking $10 a month. Here's a fun fact: we saw somebody tweeting out their service, 25% off, 25% off. And it was like $30 a month after the discount. Like, what an absolute joke. Absolute joke. We are by far the greatest value in this space. Period. End of story. You can get the tools, the picks, the optimizer. You're going to get fantasy plays, fantasy picks, ownership projections. The amount of stuff you're going to get 7 different analysts. WeOnPicks.com. Click become a member.
Lick you from your head to your toes. I want to move from the bed, down and down to the floor. I wanna, you make it so good.
What
I
even
wanna
triggered
leave.
that?
I wanna, no. What's your fantasy?